All right. So, jumping into the readings, I started with the two articles about the menstruation festivals, The Cradle of Tantra by Hugh Urban and Weaving the Body and the Cosmos by Apfel Marglin and Jean. And so there's so much rich information within these readings. Uh, a common theme throughout our semester is looking at the complexities of Hinduism, and complexity is quite alive here as well. Um, I just wanted to say I'll do my best with the pronunciations, so bear with me because my Sanskrit could use some tidying up, but I'll do my best. So here we have the Kamakya temple in Assam, and this is where Sundari has shared that she spent a lot of time, and this is where the Ambubachi festival is. And this is one of two festivals that celebrate menstruation, which is a multifaceted topic in Hinduism because menstruation is seen as both auspicious and impure. But through these festivals, there's a literal identity among women, the earth, and the goddess. The festival's greatest prominence and elaboration is among Shakta Hindus, but it is clear that these festivals have broader influences and are embraced by a diverse population. So I'll pretty much just be focusing on the Ambubachi festival at Kamakya, but the other festival mentioned is the Raja Parba in coastal Orissa. And I want to focus on the Kamakya temple because I'm attracted to it for some reason and just want to learn more about it. And so Kamakya is really important to the festival, and we understand this through looking at the myth of Sati. So in Sati's myth, her father, Daska, doesn't like her husband Shiva and arranges a large sacrificial ritual without inviting Shiva. Sati saw this as a huge insult and committed suicide by throwing herself onto the fire. In his rage, Shiva beheaded Daska and threatened to destroy the whole universe in an attempt to calm Shiva's rage. The gods entered Sati's body, dismembering it. Pieces of her body fell from the sky, landing on key holy sites throughout South Asia, forming the Shaktipas, which are today usually numbered at 51 or 108. And Kamakya is a major Shaktipa, where the goddess Sati's yoni resides. During Ambubachi, the water that covers the goddess's yoni is said to run menstrual red, just as the red clay earth runs red with menstrual power from the monsoons. Hence, this is why the goddess is said to menstruate here. Coinciding with the onset of the monsoon season in late June, Ambubachi celebrates the annual menstruation of the goddess, whose blood is believed to bring life to the world and blessings to her devotees, just as the rains bring life and fertility to the earth. In both the Raja Parba and the Ambubachi festivals, participants hold that the land must rest completely during these days, just as the goddess rejuvenates during her menstrual period. So too must the land rejuvenate. It must not be plowed, harvested, or even trod upon in some cases. A Shakta guru shares that during this time of rest and regeneration, the goddess remakes the entire cosmos anew. One female pilgrim at Ambubachi said that the goddess rests when she menstruates, and women must also rest during their menses. So we really start to begin to understand how deeply intertwined the Hindu Shakta goddess is with the land, the bodies and minds of women, menstruation, and the entire cosmos. Ambubachi is for the world, for the earth, for the universe. During this annual festival, the world is made anew. And from here, I explored the different yantric homologies at Kāmakya, which is quite complex to explain. I've recorded this a few times to try to get it right, but I think that maybe just saying a little less is more. I'll just describe a couple points here before moving on. So the festival and the temple at Kāmakya can be understood as a series of linked homologies among the yantra, the yoni, the earth, the Hindu goddess, the human body, the temple, and the cosmos. And so yantras have been described as symbolic extensions of the sacred pilgrim centers, the most holy temples of the supreme goddess, which are scattered throughout India. The symbolic syntax of yantra can be divided into two specific dimensions, the macrocosmic and the microcosmic. So after the temple rests for 3 days, then the pilgrims are welcomed, and they take the regenerated and rejuvenated parts of the goddess to reinvigorate the sacred geography of other Shakti Pittas throughout India. During the celebration, during the celebration of the menstruation, it's a time of joy, and people endeavor to really make women happy. And then the goddess is happy, who receives pleasure through the joy that her female devotees engender. So yeah, getting deeper into the yantric concept, it is quite complex, but also really beautiful. And I encourage you to explore that chapter to understand the magnitude of Kāmakya as the yoni portal. A neat little tidbit I thought is how Kāmakya is in the middle of the hill, and then the Mahavidyas are in their temples that spiral out and arrange themselves around her geographically. It's also interesting that Shiva is always present in the form of a lingam, so men are essential to the process of worship in the menstruation festival, but just in their own way. Yeah. Here we have an image of the Laja Gori at the Kāmakya temple. And as Professor Johansson shared with us, this symbol of the goddess has recently been censored and covered up at the Kāmakya temple so that people visiting can't see the blood and the provocative nature of the goddess. I find that quite frustrating, and as Urban's article went on, I found myself a bit irritated with the idea of spiritual tourism. I know this is a thing in different sacred sites throughout the world, and it's interesting here at Kāmakya because we have this highly esoteric tradition that involves the explicit use of transgressive and sexual practices as a means for awakening the goddess's power. But the agendas of the conservative political factions are trying to censor this aspect of the goddess. And there have been deep tensions that have been created because of the commercialization of the festival Ambubachi. And the government is attempting to downplay or sanitize the controversial aspects of this tantric center at Kāmakia. They're seeking to create a purified and homogenous vision of a unified Hindu India. And I think that's beautiful, but it negates the fact that Hinduism is so complex and there are so many traditions. So purifying the tantric practices it goes against what they stand for in a way. I mean, they have their own purification rites, so making the temple more accessible to tourists it's an interesting concept. So there has been a lot of economic development and an increase on nationalism, tourism, and so yeah, they're even trying to create a theme park for the, like, basically to visit the Shaktipas of the goddess within a theme park, so you can spend your money on going to visit the goddess, but in a real, like, sterile environment and very commercialized. So yeah, the article was pretty fascinating. I got a kick out of it at the end, though, how Urban mentioned that the festival remains replete with all the phenomena that will likely make many tourists uncomfortable. So we still have the groups of sadhus smoking their chillums of hashish and the black-clad agoris displaying human skulls and hundreds of goats milling around waiting to be slaughtered. So the festival still takes place, but there is a big push by the government to change it. Yep. I recognize I'm running low on time here. It's so hard to be concise with so much information. But I'll just say a few words about the Kālī Pūjā. I found it really interesting that the Kālī Pūjā is on the same night as Diwali, the celebration of Lakshmi. And it's just interesting the juxtaposition between these two goddesses. On one hand, we have Lakshmi, celebrated by the light, and then we have Kālī, celebrated with the darkness. I love this image of her and thought it was interesting also that Kālī's celebration is during our Scorpio season, and I feel like she really does have some scorpionic qualities. Here's one more image of Kālī. Though her iconography depicts her in many different styles and images, this particular image is located at the Kālī temple, which I believe is the largest one in Kolkata. And I love the three eyes, her long tongue, her ferocity. As I said, the readings, there's just so much in there that I'm going to stop there because I know I'm close to the edge on time. And yeah, I hope this was helpful. The readings are great. I hope you enjoy them, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks for witnessing.